Hi, everyone. I'm Doug Black, editor-in-chief at Inside HPC. And today, for our annual preview discussion about next week's ISC 2024 conference in Hamburg, we have with us Lois Kerfman McGinnis. She is Argonne Distinguished Fellow and Senior Computational Scientist. We have Addison Snell, co-founder and CEO of Intersect 360 Research, and Earl Joseph, CEO of Hyperion Research. So we're going to be talking about some of the sessions, the trends, and maybe the news coming out next week that you all are anticipating and that you think our audience should be paying attention to. Lois, let's start with you. HPC always seems to be in a state of transition, but that seems to be one of the future-looking themes that'll be discussed next week.
Thanks. Yes, I'm especially excited about the overarching emphasis in this conference about working toward fostering social sustainability and addressing new challenges that are facing our HPC community. There are a variety of sessions ranging from BOFs and panels and papers and workshops that are tackling many of the challenges that range across applications, software technologies, hardware, and many other areas. And one area that's especially interesting to me is the emphasis on research software engineering, research software engineers who are people who are very much at the forefront of the work that our community does in terms of really doing the key work that teams across these multidisciplinary challenges. So in particular, I'm looking forward to a BOF and also a workshop that involves the research software engineering community topics. There's lots more that I'm looking forward to as well, but I'll stop at that for now.
Okay, great. Addison, staying on that theme, I know you're very interested in Kathy Yellick's keynote, which is entitled Beyond Exascale.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a key topic in that we're always talking about supercomputing, and supercomputing is relentless. We're always chasing the next big problem. And the wonderful thing about science is that there's always a harder problem to solve. And if we invent a more powerful computer, then the science community will just apply it to a harder problem. And therefore, looking at how do we extend computing beyond where we are today, where exascale is at the forefront, is a worthwhile conversation, and ISC is the perfect place to do it. Now, in the meantime, there's many other topics. I'm looking forward to sustainability, some of the national sovereignty issues, and of course, how AI, and particularly hyperscale AI, is affecting the HPC community. There's a great looking session on trustworthy AI have room for multiple definitions of trustworthiness, both in terms of the impact on humanity, but also are the results trustworthy, which is a big thing for the scientific community. And then I'll chip in one more. I get to moderate the fishbowl panel session again, and we've got a theme this year on everything you think you know is wrong, where we're just going to go head on at some of the myths, what's myth versus what's reality in high performance computing and AI. And hopefully that'll be a really fun and entertaining session.
I want to get back to you on that because I'd like to know what things I probably think are true about HPC that aren't. But in any case, Earl, moving to you, I know you're thinking about the trade-offs in AI and where it is doing well today. Could you expand on that?
Sure. We've been doing a lot of research to find the day and what they're planning to do in the short-term future, where it fits, where it doesn't fit, what are the application codes, the hardware, the software, where does cloud versus on-prem fit? And I'm really looking forward to Kathy's presentation. I saw a preview of it, and she has this tremendous acceptance curve related to AI. And I don't want to tease it up too much, but it's just saying it is really fascinating when she presents that part. But the other parts we're looking for is to learn from all the new AI companies. They're making a number of announcements announcements, new progress, new software, new approaches. And we've been talking to a lot of end users, and it's just fascinating how far AI has already hit as far as within HPC and advanced areas. It's not always right in the middle of the science of the application. A lot of it's in the workflow as far as on the front end or the back end of the workflow. So that's very exciting. And we also are very interested in what's going on in quantum computing. Europe is really taking the lead as far as installing quantum computers. They have a roadmap of installing 6 or 7 just over the next days. Their large HPC supercomputer in the middle of the cathedral with a quantum computer, perhaps even 2 quantum computers going in there. So I'm looking forward to getting an update on what's going on there. And then the other part is also to hear about the top 500 list, to see what level of changes and dynamics, because the list has been fairly non-dynamic, let me just say, over the last few years, and we're hoping that that's going to start picking up soon. So those are a couple of the highlights that we're looking forward to.
Lois, maybe we could ask you what kind of benchmark we're expecting from Aurora at Argonne, but I'm sure you can't share that with us. So that's
but, well, the Aurora team is enthused to share the latest updates on March 13th, I believe. So that'll be something for us all to look forward to. Certainly, our community has been making some really strong advances, and are looking forward to the opportunity to engage next week.
Okay, good.
With the full community.
Great. I know you mentioned to me earlier was fostering social sustainability. Could you explain what that means?
Well, I really enjoyed reading an article that's posted on the ISC site that talks about this emphasis throughout the conference as a whole, really looking at the concept of considering people first, because of course the way we're tackling all of these challenges is by collaborating amongst a whole wide variety of people. So this conference has done, I think, a very nice job of really deliberately thinking about those interconnections and designing the program in order to foster even more than usual opportunities for newcomers to engage and to get to know other people and to begin to get mentorship and rise throughout their careers. So I encourage everyone, all of us, when we're going to the conference, to really take that theme seriously and do our part to reach out and get to know new people, not just connect with.
Okay, great. And Addison, you mentioned your fishbowl panel, which is called Everything You Think You Know Is Wrong. So what know as of now, some of those issues where there's just general misperceptions?
Well, it's not about my perceptions. I'm really looking forward to what the panelists have to say. And this fishbowl format that we're using is really what's fun about it, where we'll start with a panel of 3, and I'll moderate the session over the course of more than an hour. But every 8 or 9 minutes, we dismiss one of the panelists and replace them with one from the audience. So we keep turning over who the panelists are who are coming through. So we'll tackle some things like AI and cloud and sustainability, and what's the reality versus what's the hype of what we hear in marketing talks or presentations. And it's not that I'm up there saying no, wrong, but we do want to get into what's the reality through the supercomputing community versus what a talking head on some show might say, and I think it's going to be a fun session.
And I know you're also interested in the theme of national sovereignty. We're seeing the various regions and nations really concerned with that issue.
Yeah, absolutely. There's, what's the European plan? What's the American plan? The Japanese plan? The Chinese plan? The India plan? And there's a real focus on indigenous technologies in all of these areas, and it has effect beyond just, here are these supercomputers at exascale going in. I really liked what Earl just had to say about quantum, and what we see is that the quantum ecosystem, for example, in Europe is very different than what the quantum ecosystem is in the US, where it's really siloed into different companies that have verticalized all of these different technology areas. We perceive a much more community-based approach in Europe that I think is advancing things. As Earl pointed out, we're already seeing some systems coming to fruition. I think that's one effect that Earl already well noted.
Okay, certainly the HPC-AI theme, AI will be just a major point of discussion at the conference. What are some of the major trends and ideas that you're seeing develop there?
Well, we're fascinated on how many different new ways of using AI are being developed and implemented across the industry in different verticals and the government. And we think it's a right place for a lot of collaboration, sharing of best practices, ideas, and different ways of doing it. Some of the fascinating things, for example, the National Weather Service has to issue a weather forecast every half hour in 5 languages. And what they've learned is they created their own little large language model and it does all the translations for them. So just tremendous savings, but it has to be translated into the weather language. So it's not, even though it's English, it's not normal English, if that makes sense. So they had to create their own model to be very specific about how that works. But we're seeing things as far as dealing with large amounts of data. And we're real excited about that. We've actually created a whole new way of researching things because there's such a diversity here, and we'll be announcing that at ISC also. And so we're excited with that, and we're going to be meeting with a lot of the different AI experts as far as how different ways of putting this new approach together.
Okay, and Lois, readiness of HPC extreme scale applications, that's a theme of yours. That's the whole software side of things. Is that looking ahead to the next generation of leadership systems, or is that still concerned with the current generation?
Well, to be honest, I think that topic spans quite a broad range, just depending upon who you're talking to. Certainly, the application and software technology communities are working very hard to use the resources that we have now to fully advance our science agendas, but then also are looking to take all of these new technologies that Earl and Addison have just been mentioning. So I believe all of us in the application and software space are thinking very carefully about how we develop our tools, what tools we use, and how we can work so that we can portably engage across all of these new systems and really put the fruits of AI to bear for advancing our science technologies.
Addison, I thought your colleague Dan Olds had a interesting comment earlier or last week that the whole HPC AI thing might eventually really coalesce more around HPC, but with